This conference will now be recorded.
Go ahead. Pleasure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Cool. I'll call this Lawrence County Commission meeting of June 9th to order. I'll have a copy of the amended agenda. Is there any other changes, Mr. Alka?
Mr. Chairman, a couple of other additions. I believe during the sheriff's time, he's going to visit with you about increasing the compensation for the phlebotomist, the blood techs, in other words. And also, I think that Commissioner Comer might have a discussion with John Bay during his time about providing some gravel to the Lawrence County Fairgrounds. Other than that, I don't know of any other changes otherwise indicated on that agenda.
They approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Again, moved by Tisdale, second by Flanagan to approve the amended agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Do we have any conflict today?
I'm gonna recuse myself on 26-34.
It's a plat.
Okay, duly noted.
No.
Have, you've all had a chance to look at the regular meeting minutes from both May 26th and the special meeting June 4th. Have any suggestions on what we should do with the minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
And moved by Tisdale, second by Comer to approve the minutes from May 26th and June 4th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay. Also had a chance to look at the bills. Do you have any questions on them?
None here.
And motion to approve the bill.
Second.
And moved by Ewing, second by Comer to approve the bills as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. We have some personnel requests.
Let's have three from, these are all from the sheriff's office. The first one is to approve a step raise for Jennifer Snyder as a full-time permanent dispatcher to grade 3 at a base pay rate of $27.41 effective June 14th. And then a step raise for Mackenzie Gerald as a full-time permanent dispatcher to grade 3 at a base pay of $27.41 per hour effective June 14th. And approve a classification change for Stone Thurman as a full-time permanent deputy 2 grade 1 at a base pay of $33.65, also effective June 14th.
Move to approve the sheriff's request.
Second.
Moved by Tisdale and second by Comer to approve the sheriff's request for personnel changes. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Those are approved. And we don't have any travel requests, do we? So on to the auditor's account with the treasurer.
This is as of May 31st, 2026. Total amount of deposits in the bank is $25,612,777.78. Included in that total is our bank balance of $24,484,568.27, and the money market of $1,128,209.51. Total amount of actual cash is $1,350. Total amount of checks in the treasurer's possession not exceeding 3 days is $92,517.17. And then cash in treasurer's possession, $3,611.23. Petty cash is $2,725 for a total of $25,712,981.18.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Flanagan, second by Tisdale to approve the auditor's account with the treasurer. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Good, that is approved. Abatements, Ms. Brett.
All right, I have 2 parcels that are owned by WBI Energy Transmission. They actually are being centrally assessed on this, and we didn't realize it, so we have been locally assessing them for them. So all we need to do is abate them for taxes payable this year and taxes payable next year. And that's what these abatements are for, is to abate them for the 2 years.
They basically double assessed.
Yes, they were double assessed.
Motion approved.
Second.
It's been moved by Flanagan, second by Ewing to approve the abatements for WBI Energy. Mr. Tisdale?
Just a question.
Yeah.
Centrally assessed. What do you mean?
So they're assessed through the state. The state assesses them because they're an energy company and they have infrastructure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So does the property tax money still come to the county, or does it go someplace else if the state is assessed?
I can
Okay.
let me explain. So, I don't know if you, when we start working on the budget out, if you remember me commenting that these aren't final or preliminary until I receive the utilities from the state. That is what this
That's what
is.
that
It's
is.
the utilities. So Black Hills Power or Black Hills Energy, WBI, all of that comes from the state. Then I go in and create a tax parcel for them instead of through Brett's assessment process.
So
Okay.
yeah, I doubly assessed them.
Yeah, so.
Thank you for that explanation. Did we vote on that? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay. motion
Thank you.
passes. So dealing with the governor runoff election happening on our county commission day of July 28th. There's been a suggestion that we move that meeting from the 28th to the 30th, which is a Thursday.
And Mr. Chairman, you would have to come in on the 30th regardless to canvass the election results. We would just move the entire meeting to that day. It's your prerogative to do so. And I've let planning and zoning know for their efforts in terms of public hearings and things.
We would need a motion to do that.
I would so move.
Second.
And moved by Tisdale, seconded by Comer to move the county commission day meeting from July 28th to July 30th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, that meeting has been moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is the Forest Service benchmark project comments. Again, this is kind of just scheduling issues. The benchmark projects are due to 21st, I think it is, and our next meeting is the 23rd. So we would need to approve comments today if we're going to get them in to them on time. The county has been involved through this process of developing the management plan for benchmark. We had a tour there, so we were able to give them some feedback at the time that were, I think, reflected in the environmental assessment. These comments just kind of reflect that a little bit of where we stand on that. Fairly positive comments. We need to get comments in just to maintain standing so we can continue to be involved in the process. I think our only question, Mr. Outka, is the resource management plan. Did we find one if we're going to list it as being consistent with?
I emailed it out yesterday, and in fact, it appears to be that ordinance.
So that's all it is. Okay. Because the ordinance did say something that a resource management plan would be written.
I could not find that.
Okay.
All we have is that rather complicated ordinance.
Yes.
And I never heard back from Bill. Mitch, I think, is on his way up. So if you want to wait in that further discussion when he comes up, but I'm unaware.
Okay.
I couldn't find it.
Yeah, my only concern is if somebody asked us for the resource management plan, we have to produce it.
Yeah.
If we have it in the comment.
Yeah.
Why don't we continue this later if it shows up, and we'll pick this up back towards the end of the meeting.
I'm going to step out and give him a call.
Motion to that effect.
Do we need a motion for that?
I don't know.
Okay, I guess it would be just to table it for now. Yeah, maybe we should do that, table it for now, and then we'll pick it back up off the table by the end of the meeting, since it's on the agenda for this time.
I'll make a motion to table for later discussion.
Second.
And moved by Comer, seconded by Ewing to table the discussion on the benchmark project. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay. Sheriff Dean.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Things are going well at the public safety building as of today. I haven't seen the numbers yet for today, but the simple math would suggest that we should be over $1 million in our revenue so far this year, which places us nearly at our business model as of now. So that's very good news. In other items, last year, just after the board had approved their preliminary budget, I was approached by our cadre of phlebotomists, and they were asking for a pay increase. And what they were asking for was to go from $60 per blood draw to 80. And as we had just approved the budget, I'd had a brief discussion with our auditor, and we collectively agreed that we needed to ask those folks to hang in there if they could. And we revisited about halfway through this year, which that's where we're at now. So as you know, their role is to draw blood from those arrested at the request of an arresting officer. And most of these folks come from our local community as medical professionals, RNs, LPNs, or at least one case, a paramedic. They respond anytime, day or night, to either the Spearfish Police Department or the Sheriff's Office. Times they complete their role within a few minutes, and at other times they may be required to stand by for quite some time as arrestees can be uncooperative. On occasion, they respond only to later learn that the arrestee has refused totally to cooperate, and on other occasions, they respond several times a night if it's their night to be on call. Regardless, they never fail to respond. They're always professional, and they provide an irreplaceable service to our overall effort. I asked our staff to conduct a poll from around the state to determine if the request had merit, and in fact, we found out that it does. While some counties are indeed paying less, there are counties that are paying more, and it is my opinion that $80 per blood draw is fair in today's market. Our county calls on the phlebotomist about 415 times a year, and so raising it from 60 to 80 would increase our budget to increase the budget by about $8,300 per year for that line item. This year is a little unique, as the numbers that we're presently dealing with are a little low. This gives us an opportunity at the midway point to make an adjustment. As such, I'm confident that I can manage the expense within this year's existing allotment in that budget. And therefore, I'm asking that we honor their request, recognizing their considerable and invaluable service, and increase the blood draw rate to $80. I'm also requesting that this increase take effect on August 1st. My reckoning that would put a burden on my budget in our office of about $3,400, and I think I can make that work. So that's my request.
Motion to follow sheriff's recommendation.
Second. And moved by Ewing, seconded by Flanagan to follow the sheriff's recommendations and increase the phlebotomist rate from $60 to $80 per draw. Any questions or discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you, Jim, and I know that'll be of comfort to them. On another issue, I have been in communication with the city of Spearfish mayor and the chief of police in regards to the potential to consolidate our PSAPs. As I know you are aware, Lawrence County remains the only county staffing and equipping 2 full-time PSAPs, or public safety answering points. And we believe collectively that it's now time to address that issue. For a successful consolidation of our 2 PSAPs, several issues must be resolved, and these include, but are not limited to the staff, wage, equipment, operating expenses, what I would deem is public surety. In other words, we need to make sure that the public is comfortable and in support of it, as well as the comfort factor and the support of other first responders. We would need, by my estimation, 14 total dispatchers in order to consolidate. I would add to it that, as you may recall, in 2025, at my request, we started a process to increase our own PSAP up to 11, because our numbers were at the time such that we could easily forecast that we would have to move to a point where we had 2 on at all points throughout the clock. We added one in 2025 and 2026. I pulled that request back because of some other county needs, and advising the board at that time that I'd be coming back in 27 with, the hope to try to catch up. So there exists an imbalance between what Spearfish pays and what we pay in wage. There exists a one dispatch council and consulate, which is a fancy word for the radio, deficiency. We believe that we've arrived at a plan to resolve each of the aforementioned, and that would be pending your approval, which I would suggest would come at the time of our budget meeting, where I'll lay the whole plan out. But in brevity, I'd share with you now that these are some of the framings of what that agreement would need to look like, whereby Spearfish would need to agree to reimburse the county for four full-time telecommunicators, and then a time of assessment where we would need to check our functionality and make sure that we were providing the service that everybody would want, and then determine at that point whether Spearfish would need to reimburse the county for a fifth position or remain at 4. The city would also have to agree to reimburse the county for a total operating and equipment costs calculated by an algorithm that I've come up with that basically assess their call volume and puts that in comparison with our overall call volume across the other agencies in the county that we're already dispatching for. We would need the city to agree to transfer ownership of some of their existing equipment, which would be at a savings of about $140,000 to the project itself. The city would have to agree to handle their own administrative calls during normal business hours, and the county would agree to defer the city's cost in the amount equal to 50% of the previous year's 911 surcharge. Now, to explain that, for at least the 33 or so years that I've been up here, the county has given Spearfish 50% of our surcharge. That being the case, they've used that appropriately to help fund their own PSAP. So to require them to pay for 4 dispatchers and to take some of the money back that they had been historically using to make that very payment is, in my estimation, not only not fair, it's not a good business practice, but it's kind of double dipping in the process. So we need to make sure in all of our affairs, because I know that you would agree that we want to, should this go through, treat the city of Spearfish fairly, and make sure that ultimately the service that we're providing is equal to the task at hand. All that, there's more to it, but I'll give you a full briefing at the budget hearing. But in brevity, just so you've got a number to store in your mind, I think the cost to the county to consolidate is at or below about $10,000. I think the cost to the city is considerably more, but we've got a plan in place to try to mitigate both of those expenses. And there's at least a strong possibility that we can make this consolidation effort successful at near no cost. Moving forward, applying, if the board so chose the calculation that I would recommend, Spearfish would have to pay on a normal year roughly about $200,000 to the county for dispatch services, which is a tremendous savings to the taxpayers in the city of Spearfish. There are years, as this board is aware, it's about every 3 to 5 years, there's a major expense by way of an upgrade that we have to take with our PSAPs. The next one I'm forecasting is going to hit us in about 2030. And I anticipate if the consolidation were to go through, that amount would be about $700,000. That being the case, that's money that we would have to spend regardless, and money that conversely Spearfish would have to spend regardless. So 200,000 in a normal year, and in a year with a major expense, their cost would go up to approximately $393,000. So still a considerable savings for everybody. Although admittedly, and I make this a major point in our presentation by what I would recommend, the largest, almost all of the savings goes to the city of Spearfish. And yet, with an explanation and offer in July, that's what I think is fair. So,
Long time coming.
long
Yeah.
time coming.
Talked about for a long time.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Sheriff, I just wanted to make sure you knew, so normally you make your budget presentation on the 28th of July. That meeting just got moved to the 30th this morning.
Okay.
There's that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't spoke. Yeah, I appreciate
To coincide with some of the election stuff. So it'll be a Thursday.
So you said you're gonna have to add some personnel.
that. That's true.
And 4 we're gonna come from Spearfish. So you have 10 now? Is that?
We have 8
Yeah, 8
now, Mr. Chairman, and the budget that I submitted on Saturday is requesting 2 dispatchers, which is what we had anticipated requesting of the board anyway. So that's how we get to the mark that we need.
So it is, it's, could end up being a little bit of a cost to the county, but to relieve some duplication of services there, it's good for the whole county, not just the city. It's good for the taxpayer in general. Go ahead, Commissioner Ewan.
14 will give you 2 full-time. Well, you'd have 2 full-time dispatchers all the time. 14 would fulfill that.
It's tight. We think we can do it. 14 would give us 3 dispatchers most of the time, and we would never be shorter than 2.
Okay.
But there's, I can look at the numbers. I enjoy looking at the numbers. They tell you a certain story, but they don't tell you the whole story. Much like in the jail, the board has heard me say that the staff actually, they tell me by their stress and how they're handling the numbers in the jail. That's where I decide where the number needs to be. And the same is true with our telecommunicators. Those people have a tremendously difficult job with an extreme amount of stress in unpredictable spurts during their shift. And so I think 14 will work. And that's why, I indicated at a certain point, we got to reassess it to see if our inclination has been accurate. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the sheriff?
I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next up is setting the budget workshop for 2027 for June 23rd and 26th. Do you need official action to do that?
Usually you do.
It'll be June 23rd and the 30th. And,
Or 30th would be now, yeah.
and no, there is no motion to do.
Just a notice to put it on everybody's calendars. I'm sure we have a room full of people.
That's a Thursday.
Yes, yeah, Tuesday and Thursday. And apparently all of the department heads are getting their budgets in now and they're
Yes, I
crunching the
just
numbers.
got the last one
Yesterday.
last night.
Okay, Mr. Bay, you're up next.
Good morning.
Morning.
Quotes and Compass Point. And last name.
Starting off, we have a utility permit request. This is Bradley Limbo. This is for that portion of property on the Maitland Road that is Legacy Ranch Estates. They're wanting to hook water line from the city water system to the proposed development. They are looking for a permit to install the water line in the right of way off the edge of the road at the edge of the right of way. I have included the language on his permit and as well as in this report. What we've done in the past, incorporating by reference Lawrence County Resolution 2019-14 here, and the further notice the city of Spearfish has recently annexed additional land in the city, including the area adjacent to Maitland Road, to be served by the utility permit that is the subject of this motion. To the extent the county has remaining authority, if any, to do so, then to authorize the chairman to sign the utility permit for Bradley Limbo, thereby not objecting to install a water line on the west side of Maitland Road. If we want to go forward with this, we could, I've included that statement on the permit. I've also put a few other items as conditions that we would not allow tracked equipment on the paved surface. The utility will be at the outer limits of the right of way. And I also included a bond. If we are going to exercise the statement that we have, if any authority, I would recommend removing the bond, being that the city will ultimately own the water line. This would be similar to the permit we just did over on West 14 for that trailer park. We did not exercise the bond there because the city ultimately owns the water line and we never assess bonds to other government entities. So I actually have this permit done up both ways. If you guys would like to do a bond, I have it that way, and we can do it without the bond. But I would recommend going forward with this. I think it would hopefully in the future give us a little more groundwork for turning that section of road over to the city.
Because the county still has jurisdiction of the road now,
Still on the county highway system.
even though the city has annexed the land on both sides or just one side.
Part of the road is on both sides. A portion of it is just on the west side.
The bond would protect the county for road damage also. would it not?
I don't foresee any work near the road. This is a utility permit in the right of way.
So as long as they stay in the ditch, they would
Correct.
But the bond implies that the road's always.
Again, I think if we don't exercise a bond, that would give us a little traction in the future to say that, we don't believe it's our road. But I'll leave that up to you.
Any thoughts or action on that?
Motion to follow highway superintendent's recommendation. His recommendation was to not utilize the bond.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Flanagan, seconded by Tisdale to grant the utility permit and not object to the work without imposing a bond. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, we'll grant the utility permit with those conditions.
I did receive from Interstate Engineering the preliminary plans for the Home State Road Improvement Project. I was hoping by now to have the final plans. I did not receive the final plans. I was hoping to set a bid opening date for that project for July 14th. I would rather wait now until I see the plans. I know the plans are going to require some easement work, so I think we need to move that to a later date.
I agree, yep.
So I would just continue that if you guys would like. I would like to continue it.
We don't need action to do that, do we?
Just note that it will be continued.
Yeah.
It'll be on the agenda.
Right. It was on the agenda this time, that's all.
Yeah.
And I wanted to point out that the bridge at the intersection of Maitland and Christensen Drive is now complete. We did have a change order, $21,030. That change order was at the request of my department. We wanted to increase the definition of the road when they paved it to the edge of the box. We had got a lot of complaints and input from the public that we didn't install guardrails on top of a box culvert. So I had them put some different material on there. We seeded it, we gravelled it, and then we also placed additional pavement on the opposite side of the intersection to widen that intersection and move everything to the east. The state agreed to the change order and they will pay for 80% of it. So the $21,030, we only are responsible for 20% of it, roughly $4,000. But it's been done and just wanted to make sure you were aware of it. It did bring the cost of that project up slightly to $486,745.65, which is well under what the estimate was. And the bid, the grant amount was for $1,073.70. It's all participating and it's all covered under the grant.
That delineates where the edge of the road is better and the edge of the culvert.
Yeah, absolutely. Gonna have some, some vegetation on there. It will hold everything in place and it'll clearly define the edge of the road.
The work looks fantastic out there.
It's very nice. They did a great job.
Yeah.
Pavement came out really nice. Everything about it is good. And as you heard earlier, our chip seal people finally did show up. It's not on here because we just got the word they were coming the other day and they're here, and so far so good. Everything they're doing is very good. I know there's a lot of controversy over chip seal right now in the community, and it's unwarranted. But in my opinion, the city's chip seal was a failure because of the time of year they did it. That's a project that should be done in the summer, the heat of the summer, not the winter. So I'm confident that our chip seal is going to be a success.
John, that was a project continued from last year, right?
It is continued from last year. Hopefully our funds, we'll have enough funds to cover that. Because the way the budget works and our dollars not spent last year roll over to this year, although the item was not budgeted this year, that money does not increase our budget. So if everything goes well and we can cut and save in some areas, we will not be asking for a supplement, but we'll see towards the end of the year. Also, it was brought, you had some information you were wanting on a possibility of graveling a portion of the Butte Lawrence Fairgrounds. We'll pass these around. I got an estimate here for you.
Man, thank you. So just to kind of explain a little bit what's going on during the Butte County Lawrence monthly meeting last Monday, out at the fairgrounds, I was approached by Butte County to see if Lawrence County would like to work on a cooperative project with them to reestablish, I would call it the delivery trail for the livestock and such, out past the arena to the housing areas for the livestock. It's a old trail, muddy, slimy, got some holes in it. So it's really safety concern, because if that road's not available, they have to come through the yards. Yeah, the grounds themselves. And as we all know, kids are very active out there. And so they asked from a safety standpoint, if they were to reestablish that trail, regrade it, get it prepped, if we'd want to provide the gravel to do a road base on that gravel to keep it from becoming really unsafe conditions if it rains out there. And as we all know, at that time of year, we can get some pretty significant rainstorms out there. So I had John give a quote for delivering 150 tons of gravel out there. Butte County would then spread the gravel. You want to pass the picture around here. It's about 400 yards, linear yards of roadway. And so it'd be a cost to the county of just under $4,600 to get the gravel out there, stage it so they can get it on the road, the old trail. I talked to one of the commissioners from Butte County out there and said I would propose it to those county commissioners.
I would point out on my cost estimate that, this includes labor, our rental rate for our equipment, and then the cost of the actual gravel. The only hard cost to our county, of course, would be the cost of the actual gravel. We already pay our employees, we already own the truck. Our rental rate does include fuel and that. So I did estimate a 2-hour load to dump, 6 employees, 6 trucks to make a a single round to deliver 150 tons. So the actual cost I highlighted for the cost of the gravel at $13 a ton is $1,950. So, I mean, you can argue the point back and forth that, we already pay our employees. So if this is something you'd like to do, it would just have to be fit into our time frame of when they would want it done and when we could do it without, cutting into our other work.
Commissioner Ewing?
I think it's a very reasonable request. We always do what we can to support the fair and the 4-H kids, and I'm very familiar with that, what they want to do there, and I think it's a plus for both Butte and Lawrence. So I will certainly support it. I would
I'll
make
second your motion.
Okay. I was getting to it, but you refined it for me. Thank you.
I would also request a time frame.
I'll work with, they got a time frame they're working with. I said, once I can see if we can provide the gravel, I'll get the time frame to you when they're looking at doing the work and when they want the gravel delivered.
Very good. We can try to fit it in about any time. Right now, we're pretty busy with our chloride treatment, so we usually do that until the middle of July. If there's a rain day in there, we could probably fit it in sometime. We don't chlorate.
Or if they'd let you just kind of stockpile,
Yeah.
you could take it whenever it's convenient.
Out there. I'll talk to them and get some more details. So let me get it for the board here and then I'll get back to them.
It's been
Thank you.
somewhat moved by Ewing and seconded by Flanagan to provide assistance with Butte County to gravel Nisland Fairground roads. We've had a history of helping with those fairgrounds in the past, have we not?
Yes,
This isn't a brand new request.
we do 10,000 a year towards it.
Funding, but we've also helped with some of the fairgrounds. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Is that all you had, Mr. Bay?
You have one other thing here, and it's with great regret. I have a resignation letter from one of my foremen. He brought this to me yesterday afternoon, and although we're kind of saddened by losing him, he's a key member of our team, but he's got an opportunity to pursue his own business, and he's gonna go out on his own and start his own little construction company. So I cannot fault a person for trying to better himself, and we certainly are going to miss him, and but we wish him all the best. So I would just want to bring his letter of resignation forward, and just to let you know that we're going to be advertising for a position. Who is it? Mike Magnuson.
Is it like,
What part of the county does he cover?
He's been our Deadwood foreman for the last 3 years. And, but he's been with the county for just about 11 years. So does a really good job. Very good guy. Gonna miss him.
Yeah. We wish him well.
Yeah.
We hate
That's
to
all.
lose
Congratulations.
all the
and
people.
job well done.
Sure, there is a Spearfish plat too. I don't have anybody from Spearfish here for it. It's Vernal Gulch plat.
I don't see anybody.
So I'm kind of shocked, not shocked, surprised. So there's a plat and I don't know if you're gonna be able to take action on it. Maybe if I can, I give you a little bit of a preview. Eric Neese has drafted up a private road agreement to show that there is some accountability for maintenance on the road. It's not a county road, it's not a city road, right? It's Vernal Gulch. So the language here, I'm kind of circling with the cursor, is language that we added to specify that is not part of the county road system, has never been, county's never provided maintenance or snow removal, and you have no intention of doing so in the future, open and improve it or anything of the sort. And so we, John's suggestion, put that language in there. I think John was satisfied with that language. Is that right, John?
Yes, the original language was a little, I felt it was a little misleading. The original language that was in the agreement, the subject property is served by Vernal Gulch Road, the road, a public county road. So I didn't think that could maybe give us some grief in the future, and I referred it to Bruce and our legal counsel, and he came up with that language, and I'm more than happy. I think it clearly defines that that's not a county road, never has been a county road, and has never received county maintenance.
Mr. Chairman, to frame the issue better, so I think the request would be to authorize the John to sign his highway authority on the plat, I think is what they're requesting.
Yep, and that would be what the city's gonna request.
Hey,
And Richard
Bruce,
did-
I do know they're trying to fulfill their portion of the ETJ, and this is just another reason why it needs to be updated. And they can speak for themselves.
We just denied your request.
We just picked up the request, just had a little bit of a discussion about road maintenance and road responsibilities. That's about as far as we got. So anything you'd like to add, be welcome.
The Burno Gulch plat, and we just referenced the road agreement. And as I think Rick explained, is to satisfy your requirements that somebody's responsible for the road. And so the agreement, as stated, suggests that it's not the county, and I don't know what the city's point on that is or how you convey that, but
yeah, the ETJ ordinance does require either a road district or a homeowners association that would handle road maintenance here. Of course, we wish that this had been done years ago when this was all subdivided to begin with. The applicants were good to work with in establishing this for the sake of their 3 lots that would result as a result of this subdivision. But there wasn't necessarily the will to get all the neighbors together and figure out something bigger at this point in time, and we didn't feel that that was something we could require. Yeah.
And the sooner we work on the ETJ, the better off.
you're gonna get an update on that in a little bit.
All right, good. I'm anxious.
So yeah, again, we'd be looking for authorization to allow the highway superintendent to sign his highway authority on the plat.
So
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Tisdale, second by Ewing to sign the, so this is the private road maintenance declaration, is that what we're?
The plat, or plat.
Which includes language that the county takes no responsibility for roads.
That's right.
Any other questions? Everybody understand that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. John gets to sign another document.
Can we have a bit of a break while we?
Yep, does that take care of all highway business?
I have nothing more for you. If you have anything for me, certainly let me know.
John, appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help, John.
I'm gonna mute it now while we transition.
Okay, we will come back to order and ready to go on planning and zoning items.
Yep, I think first the city stayed and they were just gonna give a we were just gonna talk a little bit about, the update to the ETJ ordinance that we've been discussing off and on over the last few years with, the city's kind of changeover in staff and whatnot. That kind of got put to the wayside till, where'd he go?
He just stepped out.
Okay,
Surely
when
right
Peter
back.
comes back, till he kind of got his bearings a little bit of what was going on with him being new. And then we had met last week, just kind of reviewed everything of kind of what our intention is and what we would like to continue working on together. And then I know I had just met Peter last week, and so we thought maybe it would be a good idea because I don't think everybody in the room knew who he was and kind of what was going on. So we asked him to stay after today's plat, and maybe introduce himself and kind of go from there. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
All right, well,
Peter.
good, can I'll just sit here just to say hello. Well, good morning, everyone. Peter Wysocki, I'm the Community Development Director for City of Spearfish. And what does that mean? So my position oversees planning and zoning, engineering and building and inspections for the city. I actually just celebrated my 6 months with the city on Sunday. So we're pretty well adjusted to the area. I'm new to the Black Hills, to South Dakota. So worked a number of different states and different communities now for 32 years. So really enjoyed my 6 months here. Yes, we did talk about the ETJ. I think the ETJ topic came up probably my first week at work. That's something that the city sort of started to work on with the county staff a little bit, my predecessor, but it keeps coming up. So I think there's definitely an interest from the city's perspective, certainly from the mayor, city staff, to engage with the county and update it. I think after 6 months, I'm getting a little bit better handle on what does ETJ really mean, maybe identify some enhancements, improvements, and after learning the community now, I think it'll be a good time to re-engage. So really look forward to working on that. We as a city have a number of initiatives moving forward as well. So the list keeps growing and growing. We will be updating our zoning and subdivision code as well over the next 18 months or so. We're just adopting new engineering design standards. So the list is pretty long, but I know ETJ is a pretty important document, not only for us as county and city, but also for our customers and our constituents. So I think they deserve for both of us to, both organizations to review it and evaluate it. So I met most of you, I think, maybe outside of this this setting, but anyway, I'm always available and looking forward to working with your staff and building good relationships.
So you mentioned the city's updating some other.
Yes.
How does that fit in with the ETJ ordinance? Then?
Yeah, that's.
Do we have to wait until you're done with those?
No, I hope not, and that would not be my recommendation. I think we can do them parallel. I think it's a discussion that we should have. Is, do we create separate procedures and processes in the ETJ, or can we just rely on city code? If you're in the ETJ, follow a normal process, so there aren't two separate processes, right? So I think we can do them in parallel. Maybe there is some low-hanging fruit that we can achieve quicker in the ETJ, but at the same time, if we're going to open it up, might as well evaluate the entire thing. So our hope is to do it in parallel. And I do hope that we can also form some sort of a working group with some stakeholders, city, county staff, update you all on a regular basis, update the city council as well. So it's not just Denver and us working behind the office, So yeah, so we have it sort of programmed to work in parallel. Not knowing what the outcome will be of the zoning and subdivision rewrite at the city, we do need to recognize that. But if we can somehow marry the process and have one process, then I think that would be my preference at this point, but of course, open to suggestions.
Yeah, it would certainly be nice if we had some consistency between the city and the county in that zone.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm trying to still figure out, to be quite honest, some of our processes are a little different, let's put it this way, than what I'm used to. And certainly seems like items in the ETJ actually even go above and beyond, more steps and actually lengthier. So that's something we should discuss.
Right.
Whatever you all feel comfortable with as well, because ultimately it is unincorporated Lawrence County. So we want to be respectful of that.
I think our intention, what Peter and I discussed is we would work together first to come up with kind of a plan, like how we're gonna move forward. And then we would probably try to put together some stakeholders, so maybe ask, I think our thought was maybe ask like a couple of county commissioners, a couple of city council to be able to come together and start that discussion. And then maybe we could, once we have kind of a draft format, we could maybe ask, some surveyors and some different things to look at it process wise and just see what some thoughts are. So I think that's kind of our ultimate goal, but we just kind of have to come up with a plan first. But this was just kind of the first things. I know I've gotten a lot of questions and we were able to have the discussion and we figured we kind of give you an update. And then we'll go over it.
For sure.
And there are some areas in ETJ, quite frankly, where it's like, okay, it's really in the best interest of this property owners to really be even in the ETJ, some of the gulches up in the hills and is it logical, right? Is it, should we kind of reconfigure
We
the
could look at
ETJ
the map
boundary?
again and kind of see if we maybe need to shrink some areas. And we did shrink a lot here a few years ago, but it's, I think, yeah, it could come again just based on where the city wants to grow and kind of what's going on. So.
And kind of related to ETJ, but maybe indirectly, it's Highway 85 North Corridor that the city annexed in two sections there. We've had some discussions with city council here recently. It was reported in the paper a few days ago about how do we assist, the landowners to do something with that land, how we can develop. The expectation has been to just whatever happens in that corridor has to connect to city water and sewer. Unfortunately, we just haven't planned for that. We don't have a funding mechanism for that. And quite frankly, the property owners there haven't really collaborated to build like a bigger development so they can extend city services. So we've had some discussions with city council, landowners, how we can have some sort of an interim solution until the city does extend water and sewer in that area. Albeit it might take 2 or 3 decades, but no, we should allow development more to rural standards versus urban standards. By urban standards, meaning curb gutter, sidewalks, water and sewer infrastructure, whether or not there's ability to do private water and sewer systems in that area. So probably more to come to that, but that's been probably the second most discussed item with me is how do we activate that corridor?
So I thought I'd heard rumblings about de-annexation. Is that on the table or are we pursuing other avenues?
I think we're pursuing other avenues. With the de-annexation, it would have to be sequential and contiguous, just like how annexations are. The annexations have to be the same way, so we would have to start from the north. And the very northern property owner, his preference is to stay in the city. And I would say other property owners kind of are in the same, have the same preference as well. So unless they agree to do some kind of contiguous de-annexation at this point, it's not a consideration from the city.
Okay.
Now, there's all the devil's in the details always, about transportation network and road maintenance. The fact of the matter is, it's in the city. We got to look at all options, but the annexation at this point is unlikely.
Okay, that's good news.
Okay, did you guys have anything else for him or questions or it was just kind of to let you know? And I think that's all we have for today.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for having
coming.
us.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
coming. On to ordinance 2601.
Okay, this was a second reading for all properties. This will affect all properties that are currently zoned highway service commercial in Lawrence County. It would be an addition of retail sale and trade as a conditional use to the highway service commercial zoning district. And you had a first reading and public hearing on May 26th.
Of which the public hearing was closed at that point. So we are just to the point of any other questions or discussion and action.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Comer, seconded by Tisdale to approve the addition of adding retail sales to highway service commercial. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. Change will be made.
Or you just went back to the agenda?
Yeah. You all saw the June weed report that the weed department had put in. It was fairly good news in there, I think. Most of the parcels had a plan. The one that did not, I think they're working on it right now. Next up then is 2025-27.
This one was for the revocable living trust and the Rusal Lake area, basically. The Fishing Parks is here, so I'm gonna let you lady just kind of explain what happened and why we're doing a plat. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Tyrell Schmelz with South Dakota Game Fishing Parks, Habitat Program Manager out of Rapid. In 2000, we did a construction easement with Miss Van Patten, and it set the fence off of the proper boundary. Here recently, she had contacted us to move our fence back on boundary because she was having some trespass issues. So the department hired a surveyor to come survey and put pins in so we could put our points on our property so we could install our fence on the correct boundary. But when the surveyor came off the deed in 1937, he was going off of that deed and it put the property up in the timber off of the original deed, which was Van Patten's property, and it gave Van Patten the lake property. So in 1961, it was given to Lawrence County, and then Lawrence County gave it to us as long as we kept it open to the public. So the original deed was in meets and bounds. So that's why we had to have it replatted. So we clean up all the issues with the original deed.
So this was essentially a recording error in 1937.
Correct.
That didn't get caught until now.
Yep.
So we're trying to correct that.
Yep.
Is what's happening.
Correct.
The parcel is exempt.
And moved by Tisdale, seconded by Flanagan to make the parcel exempt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, it is exempt.
Motion to approve final plat.
Second. Then moved by Tisdale and seconded by Flanagan to approve the final plat. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll get the plat signed and stuff
Okay.
afterwards, so I don't
Yep.
know if you guys are picking it up or what you wanna do, or you want us to, do you need it for anything
No,
beforehand? Okay, we'll just let you know when it's recorded then.
okay, and then, yeah, and then we'll just do a new
Do
deed.
deed.
Yep, okay, appreciate it, thank you.
Yep.
25, 28.
So the next one is lot 25R of Centennial Vista. It is basically combining lots 25 and 26 together. You can see that here. Just making it a lot bigger. We would look at having it be an exempt plat. Those two lots already have an existing fire plan, so we're not gonna make them do another fire plan just for the combination of the lots.
Consolidation.
Yeah.
Motion to make exempt from the fire plan.
Second.
And moved by Flanagan, second by Ewing to make the lot, lot exempt from the fire plan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries.
And then we
Is
just have a
exempt.
final.
Okay. There's no preliminary on this. Okay,
Motion to approve the following.
Second.
been moved by Comer, seconded by Tisdale to approve the final plat, 2025-28. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries.
So this one is for Greg Persevich. He is taking lots 4A, 4B, and 5A, subdividing lots, the original lots 4 and 5. This is what it used to look like. You can see the photo here. And then we have a preliminary and a final. This is what it will look like. So it's 3 10-acre parcels-ish, give or take. There's some structures on this one back here. They're going to take this shared driveway off and put a driveway here with a cul-de-sac. So they're just moving it down. That's what they're doing. The old Arrowhead Cemetery is back on the back of this lot here. And then we did, that is on there.
There was some question on this one for access on the new driveway we go across Forest Service, or public ground that do not have a special permit to do that.
Yeah, the Forest Service sent an email to us, just like they normally do, just notifying. So we always put it in the record just in case.
Staff recommends approval.
Staff did recommend approval of it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary and the final.
Second.
Moved by Ewing, seconded by Comer to approve the preliminary and the final plat for 2025-29. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay. Motion carries.
All right, this one is a layout plan. This was that Alice Naomi subdivision area. This is the overall plan. Tim was at the last meeting. No, he's not here. So basically, if you remember at the last meeting, his ultimate goal is he owns 1A down here, which is where his house sits. This lot 3, the new proposed 3, he has a buyer for it. This lot 2 right here, he has also is purchased, and this person would like to buy, he wants to buy this, that's why it's moving. So it's moving the lot line back a little bit here. But as part of that, this little tiny kind of flag lot, he wants to keep ownership of this little tiny flag lot here because the shared well sits on that right on the corner up here. You can kind of see it. So he wants to keep ownership of that, but these 3 landowners all share it. He is the owner of it, so that's why it's a weird little piece. This lot gets a little bit bigger, but he also wanted to be upfront with everybody that he owns all of the land behind here. And his intention is at some point in time, we will probably see a through kind of driveway here. The final or the preliminary plat, when you first see it, is probably only going to be these first 3 lots. And then this is going to be one chunk. But he wanted you to be aware that that is his intention later on. So as the layout plan, he wanted you to see all of it. Well, that's kind of what you have going on here. These are existing lots within the Alice subdivision already. So 1, 2, and 3 exist within the Alice subdivision, but he owns the 40 back behind it.
And moving the lot line cleared up the setback.
Yeah, there's a residence in here that was, I mean, it was already there,
It was already
but
there.
there was an issue with that as well, so. They're kind of trying to clean that up, but at the same time be open. But what his intention is later on. But I do know the preliminary, they're just gonna have 1A, 2, and 3 on it. And then the boundary will be like track 2 or something like that.
Is it typical to have these little slivers of land between lots instead of
No.
an easement?
I don't know.
No, I mean, they can do it. It's just
Just
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Normally you would just have like a water line easement or
Well, yeah.
something like that, but for whatever reason, I don't know. So usually a layout, you guys would just recommend either approval or denial of the layout, and then he would move forward with the next step.
Yep, so this is just a layout, are subject to change. Do you have any concerns with how this is drawn up?
Move to approve the layout plan. I'll second.
Been moved by Tisdale, second by Comer to approve the layout plan. Does anybody have any feedback that you'd like to pass? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. Layout is approved.
This one. That's right. So this one, they're actually wanting to separate the house onto its own lot due to financing. So they're creating a 5.74 acre lot with the house and pool and garage, all the structures basically on one. And then lot 1A1 is a 69.23 acre lot. That's their remainder, but they needed it for financing. And it meets the required 5 acre average, so.
And it does need to be exempt. It's good there.
Yeah, we did do a fire plan on it, so
You did, okay.
no exemption needed.
And ownership isn't changing, it's just a financial first.
Yeah. So we have a preliminary and a final today.
Move to approve the preliminary.
Second.
And moved by Tisdale, seconded by Ewing to approve the preliminary and the final. Any thoughts or discussion on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion passes. It is approved.
This one, the next one, 2026-32, you guys had seen one of these. They were gonna subdivide it and they pulled it from you because they kind of decided to redo the lot lines again. So basically, they moved all these lot lines in here over just a tad. You can see the old lot line here, it moved over, all of them shifted, but they left the two on the end as a little bit larger lots, so. All the lots got a little bit bigger, and then this one they combined two.
It's just a few feet of difference.
Yeah, there's not much, it just moved it over a tad, the whole way over. On all of them,
So the 4 lots?
4 lots, yes.
Motion to approve the preliminary and final plat.
Second.
And moved by Comer, seconded by Flanagan to approve the preliminary and final plats for 2026-32. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, that one knocked out.
This one is just platting, preliminary and final plat for a lot that was unplatted before within the Apple Springs subdivision. So this is just, you know, it already has a fire plan, roads are in place, utilities are in place. This was kind of one of those, they had an unplatted remainder basically left over. This is just one of those pieces. It's the parking lot. They're just making it a lot.
Move to approve the preliminary and final plat.
Second.
And moved by Tisdale, seconded by Comer to approve the preliminary and final plat. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay. That one done.
And the last one.
I'm recusing myself on this one. Sure.
Okay. Okay, so this one is the final plat for lots 5 through 8 of Pleasant Ridge subdivision. We've already approved the preliminary. They have provided their as-built. The fire mitigation plan is completed. We have the emergency easement that you guys had requested to be recorded. We would want to, if you approve this final plat, you want to approve it with the condition that we get the easement recorded, because we'll do it at the same time so we can write in the document. I know Jeff signed it last week. I just need to receive that from Eric Neese. That's all. So then once we have it, we'll write the recording number right in on the plat, so it's recorded properly. That's all we need on this, unless you have any specific
This
questions.
is the same area that we dealt with earlier today. It's the city, or is this?
No.
This is a different.
Nope, this should be a different one.
Okay.
No, this was the easement you had requested be an actual, I mean, you can drive
For the
that,
fire, for the
but
fire.
we wanted for the fire escape to
Yeah.
come out, we wanted it a
Yeah.
recorded
Okay,
easement,
I'm with
so
Which that goes down to the
Centennial
southwest
Vista
there.
subdivision that comes out in
Southeast.
there.
Yeah, southeast.
And that's what planning and zoning, at planning and zoning, the motion was Tisdale Jennings' motion to approve the final plat with the once the document is recorded and the number is added to the plat, so.
I think that's the motion once again. Staff's recommendation. I will second.
And moved by Tisdale, seconded by Flanagan to approve the final plat with the language from planning and zoning.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries 4-0.
I think that's all I had. I'll just bring plats back there for signature.
I'll look forward to it.
I know, love signing the plat.
Are you sticking around for the other?
No, I'll be here.
Okay.
But that's not for a little while yet. Wait, do you have Paul first?
Yes, they take long.
Not too long, okay.
All right, Paul, you're up. Thank you for waiting.
We got a request from Powder House to vacate 2 easements. Do you have the map, Bruce?
I'm getting it.
Okay.
There you go. I'll be right back.
They were put in place by Warp before they donated the 2 acres to Orange County for search and rescue. The building came from Homestake. We needed a place to put it. Warp was gracious enough to do that, but when we took that lot, there's 2 easements in there going straight out to the south or the North Rochford Road. They go to the west, clear out to the road. One was for access, one was a water line. And since that time, our access comes off of Black Forest Road. Our water line comes off Black Forest Road. So we have no need for those easements at all. And Powder House has been very gracious to us. Mike, did they put the water line in?
Yeah, they replaced that water line that was put in there and then stubbed in a sewer line if we ever needed it in the future, and regrade our entrance and culvert and stuff. So they've done very well.
They've done a lot of work for us, so.
Mr. Chairman, that's Mike Stahl.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, Mike Stahl, Search and Rescue.
I just need that.
Mike is the secretary, been around search and rescue how many years, Mike?
20-some.
Yeah, at least. So, we have no problem with vacating those easements because it goes right through the middle of their lot and it would hinder their development along the road there.
Yep, they're not needed.
So.
They've been doing that work out there, the drainage. I asked Trent yesterday for kind of an update. I never heard back from him.
Well, I went out and looked and they staked it out.
You want to describe maybe what?
Oh, it's dug, I'm sorry.
Oh, they did do the digging?
There was
Go
a
ahead.
drainage in the southwest corner.
Yeah.
That was inadvertently added to our property. And when we found that out, everybody reorganized and they come up with a new plan to get it off our property as quick as possible. However, we'll need an easement later on, once it's finalized, for a corner of our property, county property, which is
not gonna bother search and rescue, but it's dug. And it looks like they backfilled the old channel, so things are moving along. So once they get it finalized, they'll save that, and come up with a survey.
It was pointing right at the building, the culverts. They put in more culverts, so we're gonna get more water. Pointed right at the building, so now they're gonna take it around the property.
Mr. Chairman, I bring that up because you will be seeing a request for another easement
Right.
at some point. And so I think today's conversation is to, before we were presumptuous and presented you with documents vacating those two easements, we wanted to make sure that we were okay to proceed. And if that is indeed the case, we'll let the cash metters know, Powder House Pass know that we can come back later and get the document signed. Does that make sense?
They're very gracious to address our concerns for the drainage. And worked with Bruce and I and Mike, and we went out and told them that we don't want flood out our building, so they're gonna take care of it. They're very confident.
I think that maybe Mike knows this. I think our other, is it for the power is in the right of way. So I think it's already in the right of way, 66 feet. So I don't think we need any kind of easement in the butts our property. So there's nothing else required that I know of.
It appears to be, it's on the other side, it's on the southeast corner. Our power to the building comes, well, Black Forest Road cuts through Powerhouse lot, but I believe it's the right of way of the Powerhouse lot. It's just probably, I don't know, you don't need an easement, that's what you guys, I don't know that, but you need to know that it's there.
Maybe we'll follow up with Trent.
Yeah, that'd be the best. Okay, question? Right.
We will proceed accordingly then.
Makes sense.
Thank
you. Do we need a motion to do that?
It would be nice, yes.
To vacate the easements.
Yeah, and you could, if you wanted to, if you want, authorize the chairman to sign them, or if you wanted to wait and see when we would present them to you, so you could actually see what they say. Again, that's your prerogative. I think there, if I may, there are no easement documents per se. I think they were established on the plat. So we'll probably just do a recording in the deeds office referencing them. We won't vacate a partial plat, probably just vacate those easements that are indicated on there.
Yes.
And I'll work with their lawyer, I think, to probably do that.
So we need to wait till we have a document to approve, or should we approve it now?
It's up to you. We're just looking for an idea to go forward today. But if you wanted us to present the formal documents for you to review, fair enough. Otherwise, you could authorize the chairman to sign and we would present them to you when we have them.
Commissioner Flanagan?
Mr. Elka, how comfortable are you with this?
Very.
I'll make a motion to approve the vacation with final review of council and allow the chairman to sign.
Second.
It's been moved by Flanagan, second by Comer, to approve the vacation of the easement with the approval of legal counsel and allow the chairman to sign. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I don't want to forget, I will bring it up. I don't know if you want to handle it now, but I did talk to Mitch Iverson regarding the benchmark project comments that you talked about during general business. And so he did an original version of them, and then Bill Colburn did a second updated version. Mitch would suggest that you would adopt his framework for comments and not Bill's, and leave out the reference to the resource management plan at this point, because we're not really sure what that is. And so if you wanted to do that at some point, then I would let Mitch know.
Yeah, so we put that on the table, so we'll have to untable that. Why don't we go ahead and we'll go ahead and do Deer Mountain as long as,
Motion to bring it up table.
well, I was gonna wait for that
Since we
Huh?
until Oz was done.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were addressing it now.
get done, so Oz can finish his day,
Yeah,
continue on, I guess.
so what's happening there is a annexation, confirmation of 3 properties are immediately adjacent to the west side of the KR Deer Mountain Village. KD Resources has installed water service infrastructure to near these properties, and so the process now is for the sanitary district to annex those 3 properties, and then we can move ahead with providing them water service. The 3 properties currently have no water service, they either haul water in most cases, and we've scheduled a public hearing, as you see in your in a request for July 17th. The trustees will conduct a public hearing to approve it, try to move ahead. Any questions?
Nope. we need action on this to approve it,
Yes,
which would include a motion.
indeed.
Mr. Rock, if I might, I don't know, there's not really any discussion on this, isn't it? They come in for the petition and inform us they're gonna do it, and then we basically by statute say we have to approve it.
I think that's
Motion
right.
to approve.
Yeah.
Second.
And moved by Flanagan, seconded by Tisdale to approve the annexation. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Proceedings. I'll let you bring it off the table now, Commissioner.
So be it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to pull the discussion of benchmark project off the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? You heard the explanation there from Mr. Autka, so you would be approving the unedited comments from the Natural Resource Committee to be forwarded onto the Forest Service.
And there was 2 different forms and
It'd be the first form, didn't have any edits.
One that was green line.
I've got them in there, I think. That one was Bill Colbert. I made some comments over the weekend. They're both in the drive. I think this is the one that Mitch did.
Yes, it is.
And so his comments would reflect these bullet points so that you're aware of how the county is being represented.
Does the comprehensive plan have anything about forest health and supply timber?
I don't believe so.
So is that still, is that an accurate
Well,
statement?
it has a very small, just that forest is still a part of our overall, like supporting it and doing different things, but it's a pretty vague comment.
Mhm.
But it does have some reference. I don't know if it's that specific.
Are you both comfortable with having that in there?
What is it? Can you go up so I can
The first
Lawrence
bullet there,
County
yeah.
supports. It's consistent. I think it would, because we specifically talk about like timber still being a part of our overall comprehensive makeup. So I think that statement would be fine.
Protect open spaces.
Motion to approve the comments
Yeah.
as displayed.
I think that's fair.
second.
Then moved by Tisdale, second by Ewing to approve the comments for the benchmark project to be given to the Forest Service. I assume that allows me to sign that also.
Yes.
Something I would.
I'm not sure how Mitch was going to submit them, but we can work.
Probably on behalf of the county, but possibly.
That you or somebody on behalf of the county is authorized to submit those comments.
Yep. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? All right. Let's take care of it.
We need to recess as
Yes.
county commissioner
Motion.
will convene as a board of adjustment.
So there's one more,
That's next on our agenda, right?
The fire, but maybe it's after.
Did I add it? Where's it at?
Fire Protection District, is it Ken?
I got the wrong agenda. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, it's been moved by Ewing, seconded by Tisdale to recess as county commissioners, convene as board of adjustment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are now the board of adjustment. That brings us up to Jeff, I believe, is going to be
I'll
handling.
make the motion to approve the board of adjustment minutes for May 26th. I'll second those.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, sorry about that. Been moved by Flanagan, seconded by Tisdale to approve the May 26th minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Morning.
Have somebody here from Mr. Chairman, yeah, I think Rich Williams and a gentleman from Lion Rock were planning on being here today. I know they were going to be here. We talked to them yesterday. Could you please hold off on that matter until they arrive and then maybe consider the fire protection board issue in the meantime?
Okay.
You're gonna have to recess.
Have to recess, so we can.
I do have one short one.
Yeah, we can
it
do
real
this first
fast.
one first.
I'm sorry.
488.
Yeah.
488.
I do have a request for cancellation from JCJ, Boulder Canyon. That was back up in the rocks. They were gonna do a campground and the building caught on fire. And they came in and asked for a extension because they didn't know what they were trying to do, if they were gonna sell it, if they were gonna do it. Well, they ended up deciding that they couldn't sell it in time and weren't prepared to do any kind of building, so they've requested to have that CUP canceled.
Move to cancel CUP 488.
Second. And moved by Flanagan, seconded by Comer to cancel CUP number 488. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Thank you.
Those are only two items that we have on CUP.
It is.
Okay, so we'll need to recess this Board of Adjustment, reconvene as county commission.
So moved.
Second. And moved by Flanagan, seconded by Comer to recess as Board of Adjustment and reconvene as county commission. So we, yeah, here.
Doesn't look like it, Mr. Chairman. I can present it if I may.
Yep.
The request comes to you from Christopher Sanders on behalf of the Lead Fire Protection Board. As you can see, they're trying to replace two members. So to it, David Goodyear would replace Nathan Strasbaugh, and Mike Minter would replace Tim Miners for the balance of their respective terms. I noted that Tim Miners is the city representative. SDCL 34-31A-15.1 requires the county commissioners to make these appointments, and then the constituency of the board to include the balance between city people and outside the city is governed by 34-31A-13. That's why you have that city person. Does that make sense to everybody?
Absolutely.
We've done a couple.
Clear, but
All in black and white.
Should be looking for a motion to authorize or to approve those two replacements.
so moved.
Second.
You already done the language.
That's been moved by Ewing, seconded by Flanagan to approve the replacements for the Lead Fire Protection District Board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Okay, that carries. So we're probably going to wait a few more minutes here. We could do items from the commissioners. Is there any items that the commissioners would like to bring up?
I had none.
I do not.
I don't think they had anything either.
Just take a regular old break.
Yep, we'll just take a little recess here. When we come back, we will probably reconvene as Board of Adjustment.
One sec, Flats. Oh, hanging out, because I know what your favorite is to do.
Have a look forward to it.
Gentlemen. This one's gone. Well,
Good morning.
Morning. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I might not show up as we meet.
I know, this is, it's so much.
Okay. Did you have it up last year?
Two pages here.
Mr. Charles, we're back live, and I think I do have a letter up there that's sort of, everybody, Jeff will introduce it, but that's what we're here to talk about today.
Okay, and we're all principal players here.
Yep.
Okay, we will come back to order. I have a motion to reconvene as Board of Adjustment.
So moved.
And moved by Ewing, seconded by Tisdale to adjourn as county commissioner, or recess as county commissioners and reconvene as Board of Adjustment. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. We are the Board of Adjustment and ready to take on CUP 2026.
205-26.
205.
That'd be the introduction.
Go ahead, Mr. Halpern.
Again, this comes to you today as a request for a transfer of CUP 205-26 presently from Duco Mine to Lion Rock. The letter requesting that is on the screen there. Rich Williams is here and representing representatives from Lion Rock. I'll let them introduce themselves separately. And Jeff is here, and I'd like to invite him.
I believe Amber wants to go first.
Update real quick. So I'll kind of start out, and then Jeff will kind of go through stuff, and then if we need to hear from Lion Rock as we go through this process. So keep in mind, this is kind of a long one. I just provided this to you this morning because I think there was some questions as kind of how this came about and where it's at right now. You can see in here, there's notation that in 2015 is where I stopped looking at minutes just because I didn't have time to get it done before the meeting today. But the CUP has been in existence since 1995. Tinton Enterprises was the original CUP holder. And in 1999, we can find proof of an annual review that was done by Michael Mankey at that time. And at that time, the board opted to do annual reviews just by an email and no longer in person. So keep in mind, I've been here a long time, but not long enough to be able to look at minutes and things from 2000 to 2007. There was probably reports done, but we didn't get that far, and more than likely they were done by an email, not in person. And then in 2007, we started doing annual reviews again, and that basically was when we had annual reports in 2008. In 2010 is when Tinton Enterprises notified us, or we sent a letter to Tinton notifying them that we did not receive their annual report and they were out of compliance with conditions. In 2010, the annual review was done for Tinton Enterprises. Well, not this board, but the county commission at that time said that there was no complaints and the board would review it again in November of 2010. In November, we did another letter saying that we did not receive your 2010 annual review. You were out of compliance. And then in there, we found out, and I actually was here during this time and I remember this, that there was a changeover in presidents and different things going on within Tinton Enterprises. We got an annual review done. In 2012, DENR did an on-site inspection of the pegmatite mine, and they had referred back to an Elbers Great West Energy permit that was done previous to all of this, so probably even prior to 1995 from what I can tell. And the new owners, the owner at the time met with them to determine how they were going to move forward. And then right after that, John Beatty terminated the lease with Tinton Enterprises. So there was a time period in there that Tinton went away from the enterprises because the landowner said, you're no longer operating on this property. And then 2012, John Beatty came in and did an annual review, letting that you know. And then we switched it to Duco. So it went from 2013, it transferred from Tinton Enterprises to Benchmark Enterprises. With that operated for a couple of years. They did do their annual reviews. And then in 2015, due to the death of one of the partners in Benchmark, it transferred from Benchmark to Duco Mine. Duco Mine, Scott Collin passed away. And then by 2016, we did annual reviews, and that's when some of you guys were here. There was constant discussion because the weeds had gotten totally out of control out there. And so I remember Richard Sleep was real big on, hey, we're not going to allow him to do anything until the weeds are kind of brought into compliance because it had just gotten out of control. And that's pretty much what Duco accomplished, was trying to get that back under control. And that was what, 2016, 17, 18 pretty much was just all weed control because it had just been so bad. And then they started doing an annual review in January. That's when Jeff started doing inspections again, and then Dave Heck started going up there because I believe they were borderline getting ready to be put under, what is Dave's, the enforcement stuff with Dave. So they were going back up there, and they were kind of told, you're not doing anything until you get that done. So that was still continuing into 2018. 2018, they did another update regarding, Dave Heck went up there and said only 1% of the weeds had been treated. So still needed to keep working on it. You can kind of see the progression. It kept going. 2019, that lithium prices were low. They were looking at trying to get an Australian company to come in and do investments with them and doing some mining that winter. And then basically it looks like every couple of months or 6 months or so, you had October of 19, Duco did an annual review. There was still lots of discussion regarding weed control. Trying to give it, the investors were still in there. Again, 2019, same type of thing. We're still working on it. So he did provide the, what you were supposed to do for the annual review, telling us what was going on. And then in 2021, our office did follow the public hearing notification process to notify them that they were out of compliance because we did not get the 2020 annual review. So we started that process right away. We went to public hearing. He was notified when to be at the meetings. He did that the day before the scheduled April 13th County Commission meeting. Cody Shad reached out to our office and said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to be there due to his daughter being born in the NICU with a heart condition. And that was the day before the County Commission meeting. And then soon thereafter, he did send us by email that 2021 or the 2020 missing annual review like he was supposed to. And then if you keep going, I did put in there the April 13th, 2021 minutes. Shad came in and kind of explained what was going on. Flanagan and Dybert accepted the current annual report and amended condition 31, adding in the invasive species weed plan. And then a review would be held in 6 months. And then you can see that's kind of as far as I was able to get this morning. But I was able to find from 2021 to 2026 an annual review, process. They had come before every one of those years to this board. Looks like Jeff was able to give you an update of what was occurring, and you guys continued it every year. And now we're to this year. So that's kind of where we're at. That was a real quick, there might be more detail, but I was asked to do this morning, and so I tried to get as much as I could.
We had some emails back and forth with JT over this whole process with Duco leaving and working with trying to get Lion Rock, and they were asking to try to keep it quiet because it doesn't get signed or something. Turns out that they, am I wrong, that they were doing some exploratory stuff under a state mining permit here?
Let's let Rich maybe
Yeah,
explain.
that's, I've gladly turned it over.
Yes.
I have pictures up on the screen. Jeff and I were out there a couple weeks ago and took some photos of what it looks like as of a couple weeks ago.
So go ahead, Rich, if you want to introduce yourself and give us your address, please, too.
Sure. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, thanks for having us today. I'm here representing Lion Rock, and with us today, we have members of Lion Rock, and if you could stand up and introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Nat Dollywell, chairman of the board of Lion Rock.
Dale Ginn, I'm a CEO of Lion Rock.
And I'm Carly Oliver, senior geologist.
And we also have the landowner, JT Beatty, with us here today.
Hey there, I'm Team Partners, managing partner. My sister and brother couldn't be here today.
So yes, basically we're asking for the transfer from Duco Mining to Lion Rock. I can give you a brief update on what's been going on there. Lion Rock came in about a year ago and got an EXNI, so an exploration notice of intent through the state on that site up there. They've applied, they got their permit from the state, and they bonded under that permit. They've drilled some holes, and they've got some some promise out there for primarily at this point they're looking for lithium. They also were in the process of transferring the mine license, which is basically the same as what we call a sand and gravel license, like Kroll or anybody like that would get. So it's not a mine license for gold, or not a mine permit for like gold or silver or anything for that. It's really it falls under the sand and gravel. The pegmatites that the lithium is in is a sand and gravel product under those rules. So what we're doing right now is transferring that sand and gravel license from Cody Shad to Lion Rock. And as part of that, we will be bonding again for that any affected acres. And under the statute, the affected acres is any acreage that is basically disturbed, and that would include any part of the mine site, any of the roads, or any of the other lay down yards or anything like that that you might need, any land that's disturbed. And you might know that the state increased that bonding a couple of years ago for new permits. It used to be you could pay $20,000 and get a statewide bond for any sand and gravel stuff. And it was probably smart of the state to boost that up, because as we know, 20 grand is not going to go very far to cover your reclamation. So the state upped that to a $300,000 statewide bond for those operations, or $3,850 per affected acre. It's our understanding that under the CUP that exists, that it must be under a 10-acre project. So that's what Lion Rock intends to do, is bond for the state under their mine license for the 10 acres and the affected land. So they'd be bonding at that $3,850 for the affected acres, which would fall neatly within the CUP that's in front of this board. So at this point, we just asked for that transfer from Duco to Lion Rock, and I guess I'm more than willing and able to abide by all the conditions. You mentioned the weed stuff earlier. So under the state permit, they're already doing weed control and all of that sort of stuff, because it's required by the state. They've got a list of conditions under their ENXI that they have to follow already. I just sort of mentioned that because that was a concern from earlier. But basically, I would open it up, if the Planning Commission would have any questions from either Lion Rock or Mr. Beatty, I think they'd be more than willing to answer those for you today.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Rich. Anybody have any questions they'd like to present? Just my main question is this the same scope and type of mining operation, small scale mining operation that was approved in 1995? Or is the mining operation going to be different at this point?
So what I can tell you, I don't know back to Mr. Chair, I don't know back to 1995. What I can tell you is the same thing that Duco was doing, because Cody Shad had that license, and we're just transferring that same state license to Lion Rock. So it'll be that same sort of mining that Duco has been looking at, and my impression is they haven't really done much with it over the years. They've been poking around, finding some things here and there, but it's the same type of mining that Duco is doing.
Okay. So I have a question. The original permit through the state and through the county should have included some discussion or what the plan of operation was. Is the same plan of operation applicable through this entire process? I think that's the question, was what was planned back then, back in 1995, is that the same plan of operation you want this conditional use permit transferred for? So it's the same plan of operation, no difference.
Basically, there'd be more technical nature now, because I don't know exactly 1995, but I think that was straight up small scale quarrying, right?
Yeah, quarry, but it would have come up with some plan of operation for dust mitigation, reclamation. There should have been some plan of operation developed for that project. Maybe there wasn't.
But that's my question. Is the plan of operation for transferring this conditional use permit the same as it was for the original plan of operation for the project?
Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
I might be able to answer this. So what we have is with that CP, the 205, there's a number of conditions that are in that. Obviously, more than happy to follow all of those. So as to that plan, that will be all met and all be the same. So also with regard to the state mine license in 45.6, there are the things that you have to do in there that have, the reclamation plan. So, removal of topsoil, the bonding, the mitigation for weeds, all that stuff. So you'll see that in the statute too. So they're going to apply all the conditions that you have in your CP and all the state regulations under their mine license to do that. I think what Dale was saying is they're not just trying to poke around and do this. They're a more technical, Lion Rock's looking at it in a more technical aspect in terms of their way that they're exploring and their plan of operations moving forward. And Nav can tell you more about this, but they're a company that has vast experience in mining. And so they're going to do this to the letter, to the T, I's dotted. And in fact, that's why Nav originally called me up. He said, look, we know that you do this in the industry, and we want to make sure that we have all our T's crossed and our I's dotted. And so that's why they've called me, and that's why I'm here to speak with you guys today.
So, and it appears to have been an issue with providing the annual reports previously. That's a pretty important process, not only from the county standpoint, but from the state standpoint, because that really notifies everybody what's happened.
Right.
And by not providing those, then it's really kind of gray what happened. So I think that's an important part to include.
We have people that easy, no problem to do that. We'll do that. Absolutely.
Well, just kind of to let the board know, we're a publicly traded company. So we have a fiduciary duty not only as directors, but to our shareholders. So when it comes to filing, there's a threshold that is laid out within the CP, the mining standards and everything else. We consider that just the bottom bar, and no disrespect to that, but as a publicly traded company, we need to go above and beyond that. We need to show that our work quality is superior than most people out there. We, again, have a fiduciary duty, not only to the state and to the county, but also to our shareholders as well, that we're conducting proper business. There's no shortcuts, there's no nothing, go above and beyond. When we were talking about the weed, that was definitely something that we took right away, talking to Roberta Hudson. We had all the appropriate heads of department come out to site. What is it that we need to do? So we've been following that protocol from day one. We have questions because there is sometimes gray areas in between interpretation of what's laid out. We stop everything. Our personnel are well trained in the fact that if you don't know, you stop and you ask, because we don't need to come back to this and say that anything was done incorrectly. So our threshold is very high. Our standard of work, procedures and process, we're very regimented. We've got a 30-year experiences on doing this similar style of work. We're up in the hills and we see something that potentially could be a benefit not only for the state of South Dakota, the communities locally, but entirely for the country itself. This is something that's soon going to be in hard demand. So again, that outlet for ourselves, we want to sit in here in front of yourselves, introduce ourselves. We're the faces. We're not going anywhere. We believe that there's longevity up in the hills here, and we want to abide by all the rules and regulations. And report back if we see things.
Well, I think that's an important discussion to have, because reading through this, that's not how the history reads.
Right. And that's what we're here in front of you as well. We've seen the history of this project. That standard work, I can't comment. We weren't involved with that. We're here. We've had long discussions with the BD family prior to us engaging and making a deal for us to get out there and work. So a lot of thought, a lot of consideration has gone into this prior to us establishing ourselves out here. So yeah, you know, we definitely, I'm gonna repeat myself here again, is, you know, we're here not for short term. We see longevity, and with that longevity, we want to build partnerships all throughout. Again, from the state level down to the circuit.
I'm waiting for acknowledgement from the chairman if I can.
Sure, go ahead, Commissioner Flanagan, then go to Bruce.
This is just a transfer of conditional use permit that is currently active both state and county-wise. But I'd like to know, this is still just a sand and gravel extraction operation, right? If you just, there's very little difference from if it's hard limestone or if it's sand or something else, you'll pull it up, you'll crush it, you'll send it out. There's not gonna be any processing on site of extraction of any,
It's mostly
stuff internal.
test work. We'd be doing the sampling send it out for test work. There's a lot of work to do before we determine there's an economic line there.
And then if there was actually any on-site processing, that would be a major,
Yes.
major change in the CUP and require a whole different
Correct.
process.
Totally. Yeah.
And that's where, if there was a change or if you were seeing it, because as of right now, there's a pegmatite. What is it? Does it just need to stay where it sits because of its metallurgy or its content on how
Or its size.
size?
You have to figure out size, yeah.
Size. So, you know, again, what the past was done, I would call that very archaic way of what we're advancing now with technologies and the things that we know. Prior to any of that happening, we got to identify what this is. You know,
If I could continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the biggest, if this was a regular conditional use permit, it wouldn't even, there might be a quick thing with the landowner or the current permit holder and then the new person who might introduce themselves and just kind of go through. This one, I think, just because it's so old and there really hasn't been a lot of work done. And of course, recent discussions with gravel pits. I think that's where some of the hesitation comes in. But again, all I see right here is transfer of an existing gravel pit, whether or not they've done much of anything. Everything is currently, if I'm not mistaken, in compliance. Am I incorrect? I mean, in the past, looks like it's been kind of up and down and different staff and different boards and things, but I guess, like I say, under current conditions, I don't see there's no on-site processing of, you know, it's not like they're gonna be running cyanide to expose or trying to get lithium out of whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's where there's just a lot of stuff that sounds kind of scary, but there's nothing in here that sounds to me any different than we're transferring a permit of an existing permit to another permit holder. Nothing's gonna change except there may be some actual process, some extraction on the ground, and
Yeah. Real
let's see if there's any feasibility or not. And I would
Right,
suggest that this probably is either gonna be, well, I doubt this permit will sit here for another 10 years. At this point, if these folks do it and do what they're supposed to do, or what they're talking about doing, they'll either say, yep, this makes sense, or they'll say it makes no sense at all. And I would suggest the permit will either go forward or it'll completely go away. It probably won't linger like it has.
Yeah.
It'll
have an advance to.
You'll have an answer, they'll have an answer.
To a real, you know, to another state.
I agree completely, particularly, I mean, have you guys started crushing yet or anything like that?
Exactly.
Okay.
No.
Mr. Alka?
So is it fair that basically, is it true that strategic minerals that you're kind of looking for? You got the right kind of the buzzword.
Yeah.
And going back and looking at the original conditions, it looks like there was sort of this menu of things that they were looking for at the time to include, I'm not going to say all these right, feldspar, my apologies to the geologist in the room, mica, tantalite, columbite, et cetera, and is that all along the range of what you're continuing to look for
Basically,
amongst others?
lithium is sort of number one, and then there's, lithium would be number one. Tin and tantalum, those are kind of the top three.
So it's kind of consistent with that.
It's critical.
The intent back then, is that fair? I don't understand. I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah, they just had different times, different needs at different times, right, with the wars and whatnot.
And these things are used for technology, is that fair?
Yeah.
And that's why they're in such demand?
Yeah, batteries and technologies primarily.
Just to add to that, you mentioned one commodity there, our element is tantalum. If you look at what America does with tantalum, 100% is imported into America right now. 100%. And if you look, we basically bought the town of Tinton. We're working with the BDs on the town of Tinton. And if you look globally right now at tin itself, 100% is imported into the US. And globally, there's a massive tin shortage with Indonesia shutting down their tin processing right now. So again, but this is all carried within the lithium pegmatite. We're after the lithium, the nature of that. And within it, the work that we're doing right now is taking samples of that, sending it to the lab, and then, again, just kind of high level, don't need to kind of get into a science explain it because I'm not the right guy to be saying that as well. It's from there, we go to the lab, we get it analyzed. Is these other elements actually even feasible? Is there enough there that, will get the attention of others out there to go to that next step? So right now we're at that stage. And to add to all this, as we're doing the work, as you've got pictures up there on site, our whole goal as well is to make sure that we have a standard of when you guys, people are at each stage of our operation, people are more than welcome to come up and visit the site to see how we're working. It's to make sure that when we've done this in the past, is to remediate as we work, to make sure that it doesn't look like a big car crash that's happened up there in the sense of just extracting the earth and tossing it all over the place because we're just, trying to get what we need and not care about the rest. It's a matter of making where we work look natural as well at the end of the day. So that's something that we pride ourselves on that as well.
So you talk about you're doing some testing and exploration to see what there is there.
Yes.
And then you say the next step would be extraction. Would this current conditional use permit, is the scope of that large enough to continue on to the next step, or would we need to do another?
It allows us to do the bulk sampling required to determine economics, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't allow the scope of mining that you would need to do?
No.
Okay, so we would need to go through that again. Did you have another comment, Mr. Upton?
We're just going to say, and I think this is to Commissioner Flanagan's point, that there's a difference between this kind of mining and sort of what we see at Wharf, for example, with gold mining, heap leach,
Processing.
and
This is
cyanide.
completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Just to make sure everybody's clear on that. And the other thing is, of course, we have a Superfund site in Lawrence County, a former gold mine. And so you're mindful of that. I mean, this is probably completely geologically different, and I don't even want to compare the two, but so for example, I think people are sensitive to those kinds of things, that if you uncover rock, you're going to be exposing stuff it's going to react with water and cause problems. You're mindful of that and acknowledge that.
No, this could be put on roads. I mean, it's pegmatite, it's a granite. It's inert, effectively.
Actually, in the 40s, it was curious to me when they were mining the tin and the tantalite, which is tantalum. What did they do with the lithium in the 40s? Well, I found out. They put it on the roads. It's great road base. It's a great road base.
You look at the minutes from the 90s, and that's what they were graveling the Forest Service roads with the waste rock.
The waste rock, that's correct. Yeah. So, it's got its use, but for us, again, for this CUP, for the board to understand, this is for us to gauge or to find the level of advancement, which if we are to advance this project, it checks all the boxes. There's going to be a lot of money poured in here. So we've got to really check our boxes to make sure that when we are ready, we come back to this commission and reapply. This will not cover, if we do go to that grand scale, to have a full laid out plan. This wouldn't be just something that, we've got on the back of a napkin and we're trying to.
Because you'll have to bring in the processing component.
We'll have to bring it all in.
Yeah, and the reconciliation in the end, like we've done this in other places where you have to have a plan to bring it back to its previous state before you even start.
Yeah, closure point.
That's right. Closure
Yeah.
point.
And exactly that. In the hills, we've known about the wharf. We know about the super, we worked actually with the Nico Eagle and understood why they were doing the work that we're doing and the problems they're having. So for us, that's big.
Mr. Alka, go ahead.
This, I think, so the question today is the transfer, so that my question now is gonna be premature, but you're doing this testing, this evaluating now. If you could let the commission know, when would you think you'd be able to come back and sort of, I'll call it an annual or an annual review or a semi-annual review and report back to them so they have more information?
Well, at your convenience, we're available.
Well, I think there's a scheduled annual review that needs to happen anyway.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, and we set that schedule out, depending on where we are in that process, we want to give you guys updates.
Yeah.
This is where we're at, this is what we've done. And show, again, more than happy to show how we work out there. Because when you get a dark cloud of others with the way they work, it takes some time to get those, that scrubbed off, and we intend on doing that.
In mining, you run into that a lot, where you're dealing with old sites, right, that weren't worked the way they do today. And there's a lot of cleanup involved.
Do you have any idea what this, how much material you're gonna be moving, just through the exploration process? There's thinking about how much traffic is gonna be on the roads.
100%, that's what we look at as well. The main thing, and that is a busy road with tourists and stuff as well.
We're talking a range of hundreds of tons, not tens of thousands of tons sort of thing. It's not, this is a testing.
Well, I mean, but that's coming back to my point. The original plan of operation should have specified some kind of tonnage. So is that the same tonnage you're planning?
It's a range, right?
Right.
Yeah, and
so that gives us a ceiling.
Yeah.
Probably stay under that
Oh,
ceiling
definitely, yeah.
for the most part,
Yeah.
because
And that's all coming back to my plan of operation that
exactly.
there was an original plan of operation for this CUP.
They were trying to grab as much as they
It should be the same plan of operation that's gonna happen under this transfer of the CUP. Because if that's different, then I'd say it's probably a different CUP.
No, 100%. So we want to continue to transfer that. We see what the range is
right now
there.
it's just
We're gonna stay within that range. We're not gonna bump over that range at all by any stretch of the imagination. That doesn't make any sense for us at this stage, is to get that volume. Like we said, we're gonna be taking certain material outs and certain pods of it, getting them evaluated, and before we even get to that, we'll probably end up coming back, and that's more or less what's gonna end up happening. If this does check all the boxes, this CP will need to grow.
You'll have a lot more permitting.
Well, we're gonna have to go through the process, and we're looking, we'll be right here in front of you guys explaining why we need that. Not only just from the geological, from the engineering, all the scope studies that we need to do as well.
Do you have a time frame that you were going to start, wanting to start if this transfer was made?
We started almost right away.
Like
basically,
yeah.
So you're already exploring up there. So.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Just my question, if you do allow this transfer, do you want to do a review next June, use this date, or do you want to go on a shorter time frame to start? How
We
would
were
you-
thinking shorter, maybe 4 months perhaps. So this is June. So yeah, that'll give the summer season and then early fall.
Maybe September, October?
October, yeah, that's fine.
October, November.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's important for you guys to know, this is not our first rodeo. We've done these transfers quite often. So normally you guys would approve the transfer because you're transferring the name. You're transferring it from this owner to this owner. And then we would move forward with that new owner. We would go back and provide all of the conditions, which we started yesterday. Rich had asked for our records. So we gave them all of those records. Luckily, this is one that our staff had started scanning in because it is sold. We don't have them digitized, so they're old scanned in files that we were able to provide. We had almost 400 pages. So as of this morning, I started going through 400 pages of different things, but that is going to entail, like, I think Bruce gave you a very shortened version of like the original conditional use permit, some of the original minutes that started way back when this happened. And then we would always provide, so if the state approves the transfer, we are going to require the current transfer from the state, which they're going to list out what they approved as part of their transfer. So that's what we're going to start with in our process, is what did the state transfer and what is the reclamation plan, the different things that the state has already approved.
Yep.
So we're a little bit premature. I know you guys all have a lot of questions, which is good, but this is always kind of that first step, because in order for me to request that information from the state, we have to have our records correct. That says we have now gone from Tinton Enterprises, then it was Benchmark, then it was Duco. Well, the next step is Duco to this, because we have to release, Duco's gone. We know we don't have them as a contact anymore. So this is that new contact. And then the next step would be working with Rich to get that information from the state. And then I would suggest that we do a 4-month review, because within 4 months, we should be able to have all of that information from the state usually. And then we would reconcile that with the records. That's the normal kind of process that we would go through with this. So that 4-month would be a good, I think, that gives them the summer to kind of start. But I do think we need to do it before winter hits, because it's harder to get up to Tinton. You can't usually sometimes get into the site. We've dealt with this before. So October-ish is kind of a good in between. And then normally in the wintertime, we don't see a lot of activity, and then it'll start up again. So I would do a 4-month, and then from the 4 months, I would do a 6-month, because that'll put them back in line for the summer. So then we try to do these like in June, May or June-ish is kind of this particular one. That cycle seems to work pretty good, because they can close out their end of year and start their new year.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the calendar.
Wouldn't want to interrupt your day there.
Well, I was thinking about just the dates of the 4 months.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to figure out.
In this request, did you send them the updated conditions or the current?
Yes, they have the most current that was transferred when it went
In
from
21.
when Duco took over.
Okay.
So 2021.
Okay, well, I see something here that says CP 2205-26 Line Rock
That's-
LLC proposed conditions.
Yeah,
Have they
that's
seen
gonna
this
be
and reviewed
the-
this?
Yep.
Did
And
they
what
have-
we
Did they
did,
accepted all of these?
they did. These are the ones
It's
that
just
we
is,
got
this
yesterday.
is pretty much boilerplate.
Yeah.
Just, like I say, the only thing to alleviate anything else would be to put a tonnage maximum on there.
Which there never was one
Correct.
before.
Just
So,
acreage.
Just acreage.
Right.
And then all we did with those was just update like we've done, where it used to say DENR.
They
It
changed
needs to
it, yeah,
say DANR, because they changed the name.
And the thing is they're not hauling gravel for
Correct.
gravel's sake. They're, so they're, again, like you said, it's not thousands of tons. You're talking hundreds of tons. You're talking
For now.
a handful of trucks total and.
Yeah.
And if they started, that would automatically change the perimeter of their CUP,
Right.
which is gonna kick them into the amendment procedure, which is a public hearing,
And
which we did discuss.
you have seen and reviewed they've seen these.
So I've got this one I have from, I think this is the 2021.
2021, and then we
Yep.
had talked yesterday, I said we had suggested the changes of
Okay.
the DENR to
Yep.
DANR.
Yep.
And then there was a chapter, is it 3? It's
Chapter
just
8.
because it changed
Yeah, those all make
the
sense.
article changed.
Well, I will make a motion to approve the transfer CUP 205-26 to Line Rock LLC, dependent on their acceptance of the proposed conditions, or with the proposed conditions, I guess, if
With
they
the
don't
proposed
accept them, then it doesn't
conditions, yep.
transfer.
Second.
And with the review in 4 months.
Are we comfortable not having a maximum material hauling?
I think they're running under just a state exploration permit, which doesn't allow for, like, it's different.
Open acreage.
It's, exposed acreage, but not a tonnage thing.
I think the review in 4 months is going to be able to answer some of those questions, because if they apply to the state for a different type of permit, that will automatically, we would have to go back and look at ours. So the original 1995 permit is what they are held to the standard. So even if they want to do something else, they can't unless they amend it. Does that make sense?
We would have better answers for you in 4 months on tonnage related things too. We're doing that kind of work, right, to figure all that out.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the transfer of conditional use permit 205-26 with the amended conditions. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. Transfer done, and we'll see you in another 4 months.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members of the commission.
I believe that takes care of us for Board of Adjustment.
So yes, thank you. Move to recess.
You guys have a
Adjourn, there we go.
For minutes. Reconvene as.
This is second.
Second. So moved by Flanagan, second by Tisdale. Can you guys go out and
Discussion out in the hallway, please. We're still conducting a meeting.
then moved by Flanagan, second by Tisdale to adjourn as Board of Adjustment and reconvene as County Commission. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay.
Richard, we're still conducting a meeting.
Yeah.
I think that's what we got next.
Come in there.
Send him in.
Come on in, they're waiting for you. Are you?
For me?
Well, we're there to the end of the meeting, so I didn't know if you were gonna talk around.
I
You
was.
would ask. Okay,
Am I up?
we'll
Just-
see what he says,
We're
but.
getting close to there, so. So we're up to the items of items from the public. We welcome your public comment. We ask that as you do, please focus on respect, clarity, and adherence to the procedure while keeping comments to 3 minutes or less. So that we may capture it in our minutes, please give us your name and address. While making your comment, please be concise, state your specific comment, and avoid personal attacks and profanity. Follow the chair's guidance, remembering that we are listening but not typically engaging in back and forth dialogue during public comment, as the goal is effective communication, not debate. Is there anybody from the public that would like to comment?
Mark Rizzi, 11457 Brownsville Road. I've been working with the EPA out of Denver to try to figure out what the rules and regulations are for dust in South Dakota. South Dakota has a state implementation program. They specify certain things. According to the EPA, the Clean Air, Clean Water Act is the bare minimum that all states must follow. So therefore, there are certain parameters in the Clean Air Act that we're looking at, and I asked the EPA, do these have to be followed? He said, absolutely. It's federal law. I have been having a hard time figuring out who enforces it. I talked to the DANR, and the DANR says that goes to the county. The county says that they don't have to. Well, I shouldn't say don't have to. They, through the SIP, it says they may enforce it. And so I sent all this stuff to the EPA, and the EPA said that's not how it works. So I would like to propose this to you today. Just got off the phone with the EPA on my way over here and set up a time where we could all get together via Zoom or whatever from the ANR and you guys, you people, and the EPA, so we could get this figured out. Because
can I interrupt a second?
Yeah.
What is this relative to?
Gravel pits and dust.
Specific ones or in general or?
Pretty much in general.
Okay.
I don't, I haven't been, it's been a big circle. Everybody keeps saying, well, no, you got to go here, and no, you got to go here, and you got to go here, and this is who you talk. And nobody can tell me, at least for Lawrence County, who enforces it and what the qualifications of the person is or people, whether the case may be, enforces it. And like I said, the EPA out of Denver has been very specific that the Clean Air Act is the bare minimum any state. They can't make the Clean Air Act weaker, but through state implementation programs, they can make it stronger. And so I've been trying to figure out and ask and find out who it is that enforces it and what the qualifications of those people are. So I wanted to present that to you guys and see what your thoughts are on it. Amber has my contact information. I won't take up any more of your time, but I'd like you guys to consider that so we can find out exactly who it is that enforces it and how it's enforced.
So we have not been contacted by the EPA with any concerns of compliance. And we've talked to the state and the DANR repeatedly. As far as we know, we are in compliance with any rules and regulations. We do know, we learned, I think that Rapid City back in the 70s had the option of adopting some additional air quality regulations, I think, and did so. But, and that was one of Mr. Rizzi's questions from a little while ago. But that was a one-off, I think, in the state, and we're not required to do that. And so again, just to be clear, we have not been notified of any regulatory deficiencies whatsoever. I'm not an expert on it, but I would think if we were out of compliance, we would have been told that.
No, you haven't been notified by the EPA, and I've talked to the EPA about that. There are standard procedures when the EPA comes to the state of South Dakota, and they have to be notified a certain amount of time in advance before they come to do their inspections. So getting to back to my point is, I wanted to know who forces it, what the qualifications are, and that I can't find out.
Well,
I haven't been able to.
The EPA delegates the air quality program to the South Dakota DA.
To a degree.
No, it's delegated to them.
The South Dakota also has their state implementation program, which is supposed to go.
The state
combined.
of South Dakota issues air quality permits.
Yes, they do.
Okay, that's where the delegation is.
Yeah. Who enforces Clean Air Act in South Dakota?
South Dakota DNR.
According to the DNR, they don't. That's the circle I've been going around. According to the DNR, they say we're responsible for crushers and the subsequent
Emissions from those, right? That's air quality.
It is air quality.
So they're delegated that authority from EPA Region 10.
But they say they don't do anything with fugitive dust.
Yeah, they do. They can they can apply limitations to fugitive dust. And the only way to measure fugitive dust is be a certified opacity reader to do that. And you have to certify on that every 6 months through a certification. Somebody can get certified to take opacity readings.
Which I am.
Okay.
So what I'm getting back to is this is the circle that I've been going around, because I go to the DNR, and when Brett Graves, when we were all up at the other building, Brett Graves said, the only thing we are responsible for, and I have emails from Brett Graves stating, the only thing they're responsible for is the crushers and the subsequent conveyor. That's it. And I said, what about fugitive dust? He said, that has been passed on to the counties. And I'm going, see,
so my point is, what fugitive dust from what?
From gravel pits, according to the Clean.
So what part of gravel pits?
According to the Clean Air Act.
Point sources from gravel pits.
Dust from a gravel pit cannot cross property lines.
It can at a certain percentage.
Not according to the Clean Air Act. I'm just saying, and I don't want.
I'm just trying to clarify it for you, okay?
Who is responsible?
The state of South Dakota.
It sounds like a discussion for outside the room. You guys seem to be on a similar but opposite page.
But
So
that's why I wanted you guys to say, you know, would you be open to having this conversation with the EPA and the DNR? Because I can't seem to get an answer.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think Mr. Rizzi's contemplating the full board participating in that. I would defer to him, but I think that's what I heard him say.
I mean, it could be any one of you. I mean, I've talked to Mr. Flanagan before after a meeting, and it could be any one of you. I don't care. I just want to know how it works and who do I go to and how it happens.
I understand your frustration, and we'll continue to look into this and try to understand the process. I'm not going to commit one way or the other to a meeting right now without more information from the other agencies.
Fair enough.
And what I had requested, just so you know, I had requested for you to send me who you've been talking to at those two agencies.
I can send that to you.
And then that way I would have a contact. So I think that would be a fair way to start, and then we can go from there.
That's it. And I can send it to you.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Mr. Rizzi.
You guys have a great day.
Have more public comment in the back here?
I'm Tom DeMurray. I live at 2062 Aspen Hills Road. Primarily, I'm here, I guess I'm gonna start off with, I am a civil engineer. I've been practicing for 12+ years, not practicing currently in the state of South Dakota, but have a lot of experience in CUPs. I'm working both on the municipal side and the private development side. So intimately familiar with the process. I'm frankly a little disappointed in that this CUP 205-26 has been open for 30 years. Obviously has had complaints or issues per Article 19.001, or excuse me, 19.011 of the CUP, an expiration of a condition. I'm going to read it verbatim because it seems to be, I just want to read it. If the use permitted under the terms of any conditional use permit has not been started within 12 months of the date of issuance or the date of transfer thereof, said permit shall expire and be canceled by the administrative official. Well, it says directly in the staff report that no mining has been conducted. It's been open for 30 years. This was now a transfer after being open for 30 years. And why is that the case?
There has been activity up there.
Not for the staff report, so why is it being transferred?
So just as a clarification, an annual report, is that just complies with annual activity? So if we're getting annual reports, that
That's
demonstrates.
one of the conditions. That's one of the conditions of the conditional use permit is that they do the annual report and then we come before the board and tell you what is taking place.
For activity, when activity is happening, but for the staff report, no mining has been completed. And per 1901, it's for the permitted use of the CUP. And then I'm going to go further. Listening to discussions today, there was a lot of reference to, and thank you for bringing those up, Tim, the reference to the plan of operation. What was the plan of operation of the original CUP? I think it was very clear that they did not know what was in the original plan of operation, so they dodged the question, and it was concerning that that was not listened to. Like, what was the original tonnage? They didn't know. So how can they say that they're going to be operating underneath the original plan of operations? And I understand this is a moot point because public comments can't happen until after you guys make a decision, which is also disappointing, but I'm here to voice my concerns.
Okay, thank you. And I will note that Tom and I spoke on the phone about this matter.
Yes, I meant to say that. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you, Commission.
Yep, thank you for coming up, Tom. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
So Mike Davies from Whitewood, 20417 Canyon Springs Lane. So the comment I want to make is more of a question, I think, and maybe Tim can shed light on this one too. For the Duco request to transfer from Line Rock, when I looked at some of the old stuff that was available online, it looked like they were initially a gravel pit. And then, and gravel pits, as we all know from the state, have pretty low standards for monitoring water quality. But then later in some of the documentation, I thought I saw that it was a selenium mine. And no, selenium is pretty toxic from my research. So I guess I just wanted to ask that as you guys go forward to make sure that there's water quality that's being monitored from it, because normally from a state permit, my understanding is the water quality is not monitored. If there is selenium up there and it is toxic, we need to monitor the water quality.
Did you guys just put a selenium monitoring and treatment facility up at Ford?
Core did.
And so did Homestake a long time ago, required by the state.
Yeah,
It's
so for gravel pits, it's not required. For mines, it's different, right?
if they get into the mining and processing.
If they get into
The
the
processing
mining.
part is where.
And that's where all this is gonna
And they're not
change.
doing any processing.
Okay, well, that's my concern. If there's exposed rock with selenium and it's gonna poison the water, we wanna be aware.
You'll
It's
get
gotta
6
be
months and then
linked
you'll
up
get
with-
you'll get to make some decisions and find out what those answers are. Or you'll,
Well, I'm hoping
you'll
you'll
educate
solve
one way
it.
or the other.
You'll solve it before then.
If I haven't done it in 16 years, I'm not gonna get it done in 6 months.
Okay, thank you, sir.
That's my comment. Thanks.
Anybody else in the gallery? Anybody online that would like to make a public comment? Yes.
I just want to clarify with your comment, chapter 20 is the one that would go against extractive industry, not chapter 19, just so
They
you
read
know.
verbatim.
They are pretty much the same. The other thing in there is because how we've always done every CUP, as long as they come before the board and they do a conditional use permit review, and then they go through that process, the board has the ability to say, hey, this is the next step.
Is that the right
So
step?
that
Even though
is-
that's the way you've done it, is that the correct step? for the
I'm
ordinance?
just referring to something, I'm not gonna have a verbatim back and forth, that is how we do it. And this has been there, and also the other thing to keep in mind is, like I stated with the last permit transfer, they have 4 months to provide what they are doing. That's what we've normally done with that. We have them go to the state first. The state will tell us what they transfer. That's the normal process. So we will have more information within that 4 months.
Okay, with that, we'll close public comment. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I guess we're adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.